Welcome into the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Every once in a while, I like to veer off, and we go from true crime, we go into the area of fiction. I read a wonderful book today. In fact, I have it, actually this weekend, I have it right in front of me right here. It's called The Close-Up, and it's by Pip Drysdale, who is our guest today. And boy, I tell you, it's a great thriller. It takes us to the area of Hollywood and to the area of, put it this way, it's the area of where things don't quite appear as they are. And I love thrillers like this. I love thrillers where it kind of takes the shine and the sheen off of things. It gives you the real world as it appears, right? I think we like to get caught up in, the glamour and the glitz of things and think that people have life kind of by the tail and that everybody's living life a lot better than we are. And it's funny how we like to think that, well, everybody's got it better than we do. Pip has done a wonderful job in this book of showing us that not only sometimes do people not have it as good as we do, but maybe people are a little bit more nefarious than we like to think. She shows us a lot about people's duality. So we've brought Pip in today to talk about the book, which is out today. And I encourage you to go get this book. It's a wonderful book, a wonderful story. We're going to talk about it here in the program today. Our guest today, Pip Drysdale, is an author, musician, and actor. She grew up in Africa, Canada, and Australia, and became an adult in New York and London, and lives on a steady diet of coffee, dreams, and literature. What else do you need, really? All four of her previous novels, The Sunday Girl, The Strangers We Know, The Paris Affair, and The Next Girl, have been bestsellers in Australia. And we have links to Pip in the description of this program, so you can get to know her a little bit better as well. We're going to get to know her right now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's welcome into True Crime Tuesday, Pip Drysdale. Hi, Pip. How are you today?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed this novel. The character of Zoe is such a bright character who's really kind of full of those hopes and dreams that we all have initially. Mm-hmm. I got to just relate it to my own experience, right? When I first got into radio, I had this idea that, you get in, you work hard, you're just going to climb the ladder and you're going to become this great success one day, right?
Yeah.
And, I think we all...
What we all think about everything.
Right? You just think, well...
It's not really how it works.
Right. No, you just think, well, I'm just going to step up to the plate. Everyone's going to love me and that's going to be it. And, I can see bright lights and cameras and red carpets and why not, right? Yeah. You just grab it by the tail and here I go, right? You just jump on that shooting star. And then you quickly realize that, well, there's a lot more work to it. And then there's opportunity. And then there's networking. And then there's really the way the other side lives. Let me ask you about your own experience first, and then we'll get into The Close-Up, which, again, like I said, is a wonderful, wonderful novel. In your own experience, first tell me a little bit about, because it seems like you've grown up in quite a few places. Tell me a little bit about your upbringing and your growing up. And it seems like you have a worldly growing up, like you've been in quite a few places. What have you learned in the different places that you've been to? And how do you bring it to this book?
Well, I think you learn something from everywhere you live. And I have definitely lived in a lot of places. In my bio, I only include the ones where I've lived for long, prolonged periods of time. I haven't put anything where I've been for under a year, for example.
Okay.
And I think that through moving around so much, you learn a few things, one of which, especially when you're a child, because those first ones were all when I was a kid, so I was moving school a lot, is you learn quite quickly how to figure a place out and how to figure out what's different about that place compared with other places and how the people work and what's similar, what's different, because mainly you're trying to fit in. As a kid, if you don't fit in, it's a matter of survival. You have to, and you already probably speak different because you've got a different accent. And so I think that moving around so much has probably given me that, allowed me to look at a place and quite quickly get deeper beneath the surface than I might have if I hadn't had those experiences growing up. And then again, as an adult, I mean, I continued moving around as an adult as well. So I think it started as a kid, and then that was what I was comfortable with. And so then I just continued it as an adult. It wasn't scary to me in the same way it might have been scary to me if I hadn't done it my whole life. As for what it brings to my books, I think it's a case of there's like a fascination with getting beneath the surface of a place. Like when I write a book, they all tend to be in different places in the world, and they tend to be places I know on an in your bones kind of level. Mm-hmm. And I'm fascinated with because of things that I have learned or seen or experienced while being there. And so then I want to dig deeper. So for the close-up, for example, when I went to LA the first time, one of the first, I had this vision of LA in my mind of what I expected it to be. And that was like a montage of everything I had seen in movies and films and been told about and read in magazines. And then, I mean, when I first got there, the first things that hit me were the light, because there's this magic hour light, which I actually talk about a lot in the book, which I felt like hope, right? Hope can take you to the best places or worst places. Yeah. But also it was just and there was something in the air. It felt to me like dreams could come true here, and I really wanted to, but then I got to know the place a bit more, and I realized that there was a lot more going on beneath the surface, things that I would never have thought about, or, people were really living really regular lives there as well. Not everyone is some superstar or trying to be a superstar. Like a lot of people just work in banks or florists or whatever. So I wanted to create that comparison between the version of LA I had in my mind and the version that actually existed, which kind of played into the whole theme of appearance and reality. So, yeah. You
do a beautiful job of breaking down the duality of Los Angeles. And it really is, I mean, you point out, the homelessness. There's a lot of homelessness in LA. There's a lot of regular people trying to get by, but yet they do have those stars in their eyes. Everyone has that dream, that dream that's up here, that's way above their heads. Yeah. That, I still can do it. I still can make it. That you don't have in any other city in the world, right?
Yeah.
What is it about that bone that's out there in Los Angeles that you don't have in New York, say, because you have Broadway in New York, or even Chicago or any other city in the U.S. that exists in Los Angeles? Well, why is it that carrot is there and that people still think that dream is still there, even if they're homeless and down and out in L.A.? Why is it that dream still exists for them?
I think because the entire place is kind of built on dreams. You're driving along and, I don't know if maybe you've seen it, but there was that really old TV show. I think it's from the 60s or something. And it's got MASH, it was called MASH. And, they have those visuals where they're flying over and they're supposed to be somewhere overseas. But you look at the scenery as you're driving along one of the major roads there, and you're like, that's where they filmed that. Mm-hmm. There's it's almost like you've stepped into a set. Yeah. And there's so much when you go to the beaches, you have a look at those little, I don't even know what they call the watchtowers, and you recognize them from Baywatch. And so because you're surrounded by these, or you go to, when I was there and I was doing research for Zoe, I would walk from her home to her grocery store, and then Chateau Marmont was right there in her eye line, and there were billboards everywhere. And I can see if I was living there, I would have big dreams too. I have big dreams and I live in Sydney. So over there, I'd be completely and utterly starstruck. So but one of the things I really wanted to work with the book was I really wanted to explore the darker side of dreams and the darker side of fame. And how, we all have this understanding of what things will be like, but then when you're actually thrust into it, it's never exactly what you think. No matter what it is that you get in life, no matter how great, there are always drawbacks. There are always things you couldn't possibly have anticipated. And so because I was talking about the dark side of fame, I really had to set it somewhere that to me was quintessentially a fame-based city. And to me, LA was just that. And, when I went there, like I said, the light, the sense of hope in the air, it felt like that to me. So I don't think it's coincidence that the movie industry set up in LA. I think it just like has that general feel to it if you're going to be all esoteric, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to draw parallels here real quick between you and Zoe. So Zoe's an author and she's writing novels. She's writing fiction. You yourself, of course, an author, very good one. And you're writing fiction as well. So I want to draw this parallel back to you in your career, in your writing career. Obviously you don't have to go to LA to write. And we'll talk a little bit later about as to why Zoe feels she needs to go to LA to do this. But I take it you're in Sydney, correct?
Yes.
And you're writing from Sydney. So why is it, I'll ask you this on your end. You can do this from anywhere in the world now these days. You can be in any corner of the world, decide that you want to write from anywhere and get your prose or your inspiration from anywhere. Why Sydney? Why write from there? Or do you feel like you have to go somewhere to research, or do you feel like you can do your research from the internet? What is it that inspires you to write an individual novel at any particular time?
Well, I definitely need to go to the place. To start with, I need to know the place. Like I need to have spent some time there before I even start writing it. I've done one where I didn't do that, and it was beyond tricky. Like usually, for example, I set one in New York, and so I based the girl in the apartment I used to live in when I was there, because then I can immediately base myself there. I can immediately see her walking down the stairs. I know what she sees out the window. And that for me helps me to imagine what could possibly happen, you know?
Mm-hmm.
For Paris, I did the same thing. I went there and I'd spent time there before a few times, but I went there to do research and spent an entire 3 months alone in an apartment exactly like hers. So I knew exactly where the roof was, exactly what I could see from the window, exactly, you know, which also is quite good because when someone on Goodreads goes, well, that doesn't make sense that this part of the roof is like this and this part of the roof is like that, I can go, well, I live there. I can tell you that's exactly how it is, you know, might not make sense to you, but that is true, right? So I think for me, it just really helps me to get into the character's mind. But then I am quite method in the ways that I work. So for example, I will choose a perfume for each character and I will spray myself with it before I write her. I think the sense memory helps me to get back into the character and remember who she is. So, and what she's experienced and what has happened in the plot earlier. So for Zoe, that was Killian's Good Girl Gone Bad, which is like, it smells like cigarettes because, you know, she's always smoking.
Yeah.
And peaches. So
okay.
That was perfect for Zoe. And so, what was the question again? I'm so sorry. I think I've just gone off on a tangent.
It was a two-parter kind of. So you could write this from anywhere in the world, and you choose to live in Sydney, but you also choose to go to different places to do your research. So I find it
can't write. You see, I can't write from anywhere in the world. Like I really very definitely need to know the place and spend time in the place and go back and research in the place. Like I know lots of authors can do it through Google Maps and what have you. And there is a limit. Like I can do some of it that way. But for example, with the close-up, I had already created quite a bit of it. I already knew the basis of it. I knew the twists and stuff. And I knew where I wanted her and I knew where she worked and stuff, but it wasn't until I actually turned up to do my research trip and went back to exactly where the florist was on Abbot Kinney and wandered around the back and took loads of photos of alleyways and dumpsters there. I mean, it's very glamorous being an author. And then went to like where she lived and walked around her grocery store. After I had done that, and I came back to Australia because I wasn't in Sydney at that point. Then I could write the entire second half of the novel and a lot of rewriting on the first half in 2 months. And that was only by virtue of the fact that I could properly imagine it. Because when I'm writing, I see everything playing out almost on a cinema screen in my mind. And so the more information I can give myself, like the more sensory information and recent sensory information, because there's a limit to what your memory can hold, right?
Right.
Just the easier the process is for me and the more real it feels to me. And so for me, it's absolutely vital. I love to just be able to sit here and do it on the internet, because as glamorous as it sounds, doing research trips, they never go right. Something always goes wrong. And it's quite stressful. But for me, it's vital. So yeah.
And it's a great way, first of all, to not only get inside a character's head, but then get inside the scenery, like you said, to know everything intimately. So then in that way, intimately, you're inside your characters. The other tricky part of this, as we start to get into the plot of what the close-up is all about, is that you have characters that are inside Hollywood. And that's a tough nut to crack. And to get to know. So I would ask you this as well. You've got to get inside that world somehow. How do you manage to, is that more conjecture? Is that more, I think this is how it's going to go? Or do you actually manage to get inside that world for this?
Combination of bits.
Okay.
So let's just say that it's a combination of lots of different things. I think that's probably the best, most honest answer to that.
Okay.
So you've got a bit of there's just lots of things that come into play. You do the best you can with everything you've got.
Okay. And that's fair without getting too spoilerish about the novel. It's because there's some really brilliant things in there.
Thank you.
Again, without getting too spoilerish, you as you get deeper into the novel and get to know about Zach, who's the main person that Zoe gets involved with, who's also our movie star in this novel, you get to know him from the time that they first get to know each other to the time where he starts to become famous, and there's it's interesting how secluded he becomes, and you get to know him through his seclusion. And his loneliness is very, not only can you relate to it, but in the ways that he becomes secluded, it feels authentic. And I guess that's why I ask, is there, is that something that you can actually research, or is that more conjecture?
I think it's a combination. Like I said, it's very difficult to, without just lots and lots of things all together. You've got lived experience, you've got things you might know from secondhand. There are things you might have have read about there, and then there's just what you've witnessed, and it all comes together, and then you double check yourself through multiple ways, and that's the only way I can really answer that question.
Because there's one thing, and I don't think this is spoilerish at all, but I want to bring this part up as far as in the close-up. There's a room that Zach builds within his mansion, and it's kind of like a safe room. But
it is.
The way it's
very definitely a safe room.
Yeah, the way it's constructed is brilliant.
Yeah. Thank you.
And without getting too much into it, he's it's not just your typical screening room. Is that a fair way to put it?
No. Yeah, it's definitely not just your typical screening room. Definitely not.
And if I will, I'll turn it over to you to describe what you want to describe out of it, because it's really quite brilliant.
Well, it's okay. We can say some stuff about it. Sure. It's a safe room. So obviously he doesn't want anyone to be able to find it. So he has built it in a way that people won't necessarily find it. So to start with, he has a door code. You have to know the code in order to get in. And it doesn't look entirely like a safe room when you get down there. You think it's a screening room. He has it set up that way. So it's not like, you walk in and think you've walked into a bunker with loads of water and cans of beans on the wall or anything. It looks like a screening room, and it is built underneath this pool. So that means that it's just a little bit harder for someone to figure out exactly where it would be. But it's quite cool because you can press the remote control and the thing comes back so you can see the pool above you.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
I want one.
Yeah, right? The minute I read about it, I wanted one. But you think about the kind of money that would go into it, the fact that you could see the pool above you. That in itself would probably run you a couple $1 million, I got to think.
Probably. I have no idea what those things cost. I definitely don't have one myself.
Right. Well, yeah. You and me both. But yeah, I got to think that it's got to cost a pretty penny, but it's got to be pretty cool to have. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Pip, we're going to take our break right here. When we come back, I want to get into the character of Zoe and
sure.
The intricacies of Zoe, because Zoe is a person who doesn't exactly live on the edge when we first meet her. In fact, she's quite conservative. But when she's trying to break out of her shell, we'll put it that way. She takes a leap, and we find out how Zach changes her life, so to speak, in more ways than one. Yeah. And we'll get into the plot of the close-up when we come back. And we find out just why life isn't always greener on the other side. Again, the name of the book is The Close-Up. Our guest is Pip Drysdale, and we have links to it in the description of this program. I highly encourage you folks to go out and get this book. It's a wonderful thriller, and the ending, I promise you, is going to shock you. That's for sure. I was shocked and surprised by the ending of this book. And for all my true crime fans out there, I know some of you go, well, fiction, Tim, why are we dealing with fiction? Because sometimes a fictional thriller will shock you, surprise you, amaze you, stun you, and please you. And this one will do all of that. So, folks, I want you to go out and get it right now. We have a link in the description of this program. When we come back, more with Pip Drysdale, The Close-Up, right here on True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. My guest is Pip Drysdale. This is the book right here, and it's wonderful at that, The Close-Up. And when we left you, we were talking about Zoe, who's our main character in this book. She's a little bit conservative. She's from London. She has an overprotective dad, which we'll talk about here in a second. And she's based in LA, and from there, Pip, I want to turn it over to you. Tell us a little bit about Zoe and why she's decided that LA is the place she needs to go to write her great, or actually to write her great American novel, so to speak, or her great books. Yeah. And at this point in this book, The Close-Up, she's already written one book. And tell us a little bit about where we're at in this story with what she's written and why there's so much desperation on her part.
Okay, so Zoe got this massive $1 million deal, which is everyone's dream, you know, and you think it can't possibly be bad, right? So she gets this $1 million deal for 2 books, and she gets paid. The way that book deals work is you get paid usually half up front for both books, and then you get paid in increments going forward. So something on delivery, something on publication, and then for the second book, delivery and publication. Now for Zoe, she got paid half up front and promptly lived on it, and tried to do everything she could to get into her writer's brain, because she was blocked when she was writing her first book. And she finally finishes it, but it's late. And so that has thrown the publisher's calendars completely out, and it comes out and it totally bombs. And this is just nothing she really anticipated, because she got such a huge advance and everyone was telling her she was going to be the next big thing. And her agent was promising her everything would be amazing, because it looked like it was going to be, right? So she's completely paralyzed by this. She can't bring herself to write another one, because every time she tries to write it, she thinks it's terrible. All she can hear in her head are like the few bad reviews she got. I mean, mainly they were good, but the few bad ones, because I think that everyone, you know, that's what we do, isn't it? We remember the bad things.
Yeah.
And so she's desperate to write this next book. And when we meet, when she re-hooks up with Zach again, you know, 3 years after they first hooked up, everything's changed. Like when they first met, she was like this big up and coming star, and he was like a nobody who just wanted to be an actor. But now she's got this bomb book, and he is this massive star with PR people and paparazzi and fans. And she's thinking, when she reconnects with him, her writer's block kind of lifts, and she has this idea, like maybe she could write a book about them and about like what goes on behind the celebrity curtain. And you know, she doesn't really want to do the wrong thing by Zach, but she pitches it to her agent, and her agent's like, great, go for it. And her agent's about to drop her at this point. So, you know, she's just desperate. She thinks, well, if I'm not a writer, what am I? So yeah, that's why she starts writing that book about Zach. And the reason that she's in LA to start with is that when she got the big book deal, they sold the film rights ahead of the release and everything. And she was going to be an executive producer on her TV show. So she comes over to LA so she can be part of that, which never actually eventuates. But she's thinking to herself, I have to jump on this opportunity. That's on the outside. On the inside, the reason that she does it is because in London, it's a very class-based system there. So you've got people who've gone to sort of Harrow and Eton, and they tend to, if you look at bestsellers over there, a lot of people who become novelists over there, I mean, not all, but a lot, have got that education and that network. And she feels really held back by that. She feels really held back because she didn't do that. She sees LA as this place where you can turn up with just like talent and a dream and drive and make it happen.
Yeah.
And she just she wants that for herself. And so you see that it's kind of twofold. And plus she kind of wants to get away from her dad because her dad is a single parent and he's fantastic. But she sees him as this kind of emblem of mediocrity because she sees him as having settled and having never really strived for anything. And as her mother left when she was really young and is probably out there living this fantastic life, I think, if you're going to have to pick between the two, you're like, I want to be like her, especially because you have that sense of abandonment. Like, I don't really go into that in the book. She just says one line about, I probably have a wound around that, but I've got too much going on to think about it. Mm-hmm. But like on a deep level, on the things you don't see in the novel, that's what's going on with her.
You do put it quite in different areas in the book quite eloquently that her dad is the one, it's kind of the leash, he'll send her articles about bad things that happen in LA or I really want you to
Isn't that dad's?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Right. And I really want you to come home, think about coming home. And he keeps egging around about, think about coming home, sweetie, think about coming home.
Yeah.
And it really is, I think it's a parent's prerogative to, even though you want them to go out on their own and spread their wings and fly and be what they want to be. At the same time, you want to keep them under that protective bubble, which is the perfect conundrum of every parent, right? And it's probably the ultimate nightmare of every parent that you go to the one place on earth that could be every parent's nightmare. I mean, isn't LA every parent's nightmare, right? I mean, it's
definitely my parents' nightmare.
Oh, sure, I bet, right? It's stardom, it's drugs, it's sex, it's every fast lane you could put out in front of you, but it's also the land where you could hit every dream you ever could dream of, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you take every risk, but there's every reward at the same time.
Exactly.
And
actually, like at the beginning, she's saying she took this gamble, and that's what it is. It truly is a gamble going there. So yeah.
But she's as you put it too in the book, she's standing on the edge of the cliff and she's just looking over, and she's been doing this for so long. Now Zoe also has this job at this florist shop, and it seems like that's the edge of the cliff, right? So that's the edge of the cliff. She's working this job, and she's also working along with the boss, who's also kind of standing on the edge of the cliff with her, isn't she?
Yeah. V. I loved writing V because V wants to be an actor. Mm-hmm. And she's doing everything she can, but she's in a day job as well. And V is actually the character that pushes Zoe to take some risks and get out there and live her life. She's saying to her early on, well, of course you have nothing to write about. You're not out there living. You have to be out there getting wounds. You have to be out there actually getting stories to write about, having things happen to you. You can't just sit in a little bubble, which goes back to what I was saying earlier a little bit, about not being able to just sit in a room in Sydney and be able to write anywhere in the world, why I have to turn up there. Because I do think that that's somewhat true for me too. It definitely helps for me. Luckily, I've always had quite an adventurous spirit or a need for a curiosity about life. And I really think that has helped me as a writer because so many of the bad things or difficult things or mistakes that happened to me before I became a novelist are so valuable to me now. So many of the dead ends and the wrong turns and the bad relationships and the things that actually could be seen as terrible are absolute gold, you know? And so I wanted to infuse that into Zoe, like the recognition that sometimes you have to go through things in order to be able to truly understand them and be able to put them forward, you know?
All right, right. Now, there's another circle that kind of encompasses Zoe's world, and that's her writers group. And this is where she begins to learn about the duality of people. Tell us a little bit about her writers group and why it's a love-hate relationship with her.
Well, I mean, she loves some of them. She's got a really good friend there who brought her into the group, and she actually loves most of the group. There's just one character who's not so fabulous for reasons that I won't go into. But I think that for her as well, she's turning up because she's trying so hard to do what she has to do. She's trying so hard to write the book and to do the work. But she also, it doesn't really do anything for her. Everyone else just kind of writes their work, and she just sits there while they're all writing, pretending to write, you know, because she's just so blocked.
Right.
So, yeah.
Without getting too spoilerish now for our crime fans out there here in the audience, there is a crime element to this book, and I'm trying to figure out how you want to flesh this out.
Well, there's kind of three, really, because you've got, you know, I mean, I can tell you one, which because it's on the back of the book. You know, you've got, like, for example, she writes this novel about a stalker, and then when she reconnects with Zach, a stalker reads her first novel because it goes viral once her name is in the press, and then starts reenacting all the plot twists in it with Zoe as the victim. So you've got that aspect as a crime.
Okay.
And then you have a couple of others, which I really can't go into because I go there further on in the book, and like, and I don't want to ruin it because that's the fun part when you're discovering this stuff, you know, but they're quite bad.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about
In fact, you've got three others.
Right. You do. You have three others. Let's talk a little bit about the stalker that is after Zoe at the beginning of the book. And some of the, because there's some truly twisted, which Zoe has come up with in her own mind, but are being reenacted back at her. One of the things is, you know, she's driving the floral van back to her home. It's being lent to her by V because she gives up her own car. But she's bringing the floral van back to her apartment. She parks it. One of the things that's brought up in her own novel is that the stalker in her novel leaves a human, I think it's a human heart in the novel, on her vehicle. She wakes up to find that a heart is left on her floral van. Okay, so Pip, I have to ask you, where does this come from, or where did the inspiration for this even come from?
Do you know what? I think, like, you know, as an author, you tend to catastrophize, and you tend to have thought through things like pretty badly. Like you know, you've gone quite in depth as to how badly things can go. That one didn't have it. Like, none of them had definite things that inspired them. They were just, you know, you're thinking to yourself, what is one of the worst things that could happen? And you know that it has to be something around her vehicle because that's good, that people have got easy access to that. So I didn't want it to be something silly, like well, I mean, it's not silly, but like a note or like writing it, because I did consider that, like a note or writing in the dust, you know, with a fingerprint, or, you know, there are all those sorts of things that you could do. But I wanted it to be something that was just gross, and you're like, this is a problem, because I wanted it to be very clear that this was a problem up front, you know, especially since it's, because, you know, you've got the length of a book. It's not like in real life where you might have 18 months to get stalked. And so they can start really, really small, which tends to be a little bit closer to how it happens in the real world. But I wanted it to, you know, I needed the plot points to come in. So yeah, I started big and hard.
That scene in itself is just absolutely amazing. Again, without giving too much away, but when you find a heart on your vehicle, not knowing if it's human, bovine, whatever it may be, this thing is sitting on your windshield, and the way you describe it, it's in the hot sun. Yeah. It's sitting there.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
And then you have to figure out if you're going to
get it off.
Yeah, you have to figure out if you're going to take a picture of it, get rid of it, take it to the police, what you should do with it. It's disgusting. But it brings up images in the mind, and you're reviled by it for pages and pages. I mean, it sticks with you. It's sticking with me now. I read it days ago, and it's sticking with me now. It's truly a gross scene. I mean, I tip my hat to you, but it's truly a gross scene.
Yeah, it is. It's very gross. But it had to be big. You know, I didn't have enough pages. I wasn't writing a series. Like, you know, if I'd started small, it just wouldn't have had the impact, right?
Right. And I mean, that's a heck of a way to kick it off. But in you know, the idea of having this stalker that is I guess fixated on Zach, but going after Zoe because she dare be with Zach.
Yeah.
And then wanting to retrace the steps of Zoe's novel is brilliant. But the thing is the person in Zoe's novel is dead at the end. Right?
No. So then Zoe's like, what if that happens to me?
Right.
Like, you know.
Right. I mean,
you'd be terrified.
And she knows the ending, right? So, and she's trying to figure out, is this stalker going to go in the order of my novel? Are they going to skip steps? Are they going to, you know, I mean, it's absolutely, you know, spellbinding and terrifying all at the same time. Right?
Yeah. So basically for her, the whole thing is she just wanted to stop before it gets too far towards the end. Like she wants to find a way to kind of like stop it, or to kind of calm herself and know, like, she's just doing everything she can. And it was really important to me when I was writing this novel. I wanted to kind of get into the mindset of, wanted to put it across to the reader what it's like when you're in a situation where you've got bad things like that happening, or you are being stalked, or harassed, or whatever you want to call it. Because I think that sometimes, you know, people can be very judgmental of a character and be like, well, why doesn't she go straight to the police? But when you're actually the person living through those sorts of things, you don't necessarily, it's not entirely logical, because you don't know exactly whether it's going to keep happening, whether it's a one-off. You don't want to be the person this is happening to. It's embarrassing and shameful, and you don't know why it is, but it is. And you know it shouldn't be, but you feel that way. And so it was really important to me to try to be true to that experience in whatever way I possibly could be, because like I said before, I didn't have the number of pages to go through it perfectly, but to try to explain how within you have these two sides of you being torn. Like, you know, you've got the one side that if it was happening to a friend, you'd be like, deal with it now. Right. But when it's happening to you, things are just not that simple. Like, so I wanted to make sure that was in there.
We can talk just briefly about a couple of characters you introduce into the novel at one particular point that are part of Zach's world that make the situation more complicated than it would be if you just found stalkerish stuff and said, okay, I'm just going to bring it to the police. Because at one point, Zoe does try to bring it to the police, and they give her very little solution rather than the normal stuff you would get, right? And that is that Zach has a team, and that team is complicated. There's a lot of complication to what she can do based on Zach's career. How much would you like to talk about this team? Because it seems to me that, I mean, he's got his manager, of course, Brian, who is working things around the scenes. He's got his PR person, Geraldine, who wants things a certain way. And he's got Amy as well. And then he has a fixer named Carlos, who is a security person. It's a security person.
Yes.
And basically Zach says, I will give you Carlos to keep you safe. Don't worry about it. Carlos will look after you. Now, if he says, don't go to the police, have Carlos will take care of you.
Yeah.
Doesn't that seem confusing?
Well, not really, because the police weren't helping her. it's like, the police had just come out, and he texts her and he goes like, well, what did they say? Because she sends him a photo of the heart, and the police go, and Zach says, well, what did they say? And she says, well, they can't do anything. So he says, well, come over here right now. I might be able to help you. And he's trying to protect her. So he gets Carlos to protect her,
But at the same time, Carlos can't be everywhere at the same time. He can't be here and there, and she's delivering things as a florist, and she's going to businesses and homes, and he can't be everywhere, right?
I know. Well, it's very dangerous. And that's the experience. So if you are experiencing stalking or something like that, it's not, you go to the police, and if you know exactly who it is, then they can go talk to them. But in Zoe's case, she doesn't know who it is. And she's just recently been in the press. And so, and there's a photo in the press that can identify where she lived, and they know where she works, so they could easily have found her van. And, there's so many, and her phone number has been leaked online. And so there's so many things that make her a target to anyone. And part of the reason that I wanted her to go viral with her first novel was I wanted everyone to have that available to them. So suddenly the number of people that might be doing it to her has multiplied. It's no longer just, people she might know, or it's like, the entire world could potentially be doing it. Probably someone in LA because they turn up to put a heart in a windscreen, but
right.
And so, I suppose it's a case of, well, the police aren't going to do anything. And so at least Carlos is doing something,
right.
Because what's the alternative really? What else does she have?
Yeah, right. I tell you, folks, from there, it gets tangled. There's as to who this stalker is, how this whole thing ends up, and the surprise twist ending that will shock you. I encourage you to read this. I got goosebumps thinking about it. Here it is right here, the close-up. Pip Drysdale is our guest, and we have a link to it in the description of this program. I encourage you to go get it. It's a quick read. Again, I read it in 2 sittings. That was it, Pip. I had to stop because eventually...
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Eventually, I had to eat something. I had to eat dinner. But other than that, I finished it in 2 sittings. So
that's great.
It went very quickly. So I want to encourage everybody to go get this book. It's a wonderful book. It's a wonderful story. And you're going to be shocked. And I think at the end of the book, you're going to go... Wow. It's a very accurate reflection of society at the end.
I really wanted that. I was really important to me that was the exact reaction. Wow. And to be honest, on Goodreads, you try not to look at them, but you can't help it. Especially at the beginning when people are first reading it. And a lot of them have started with wow. And that was exactly what I wanted. I really wanted people to read, particularly that very last line, and go, yeah, so I'm glad you had that reaction. Thank you.
Yeah, I did. I at the very end of it, I went, wow. And then I went, are you kidding me? Because I went, it was like, it figures because it was a very, very accurate depiction of today's society. I couldn't.
Thank you.
Yeah, I that's all I can say without spoiling anything. That's yeah. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by the entire book. So again, the close-up is the name of the book. Thank you, Pip. I appreciate it. The close-up is the name of the book. Pip Drysdale is our guest. And again, the link is in the description of this program. Folks, we're going to lighten things up a little bit. It's time now for us to bring in Jessica Freeberg. It's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
It's that time again, the time you've all been looking forward to. It's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals. And with that, we reach across the world, or maybe it's even across town, I don't know, maybe one or the other. And we go and get Hindustan Times, what they call the #1 best-selling author in all of Hindustan. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is. She's intelligent, she's witty, she's funny, and she's pretty easy on the eyes. Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Freeberg with 3 books out at the same time. Jessica, how you doing?
I'm great.
Well,
how are you?
That's good. I mean, you put it out there like Tony the Tiger. You were like, I'm great. So
I'm so great, Tim. I'm just having the best day ever.
That's good. That's good. Did you celebrate? Did you celebrate Cyber Monday in a great way?
I haven't done any Cyber Monday shopping, but I did a ton of Black Friday shopping. I really think I kicked out everything on my kids' Christmas list on Friday.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Nailed it.
Cyber deals are pretty good. That's for sure. You can do some pretty good stuff with Cyber Monday. That's for sure.
When we went to the Mall of America, which was bananas.
Black Friday.
Yeah, we went in Black Friday, and I did most of my shopping online because most of the sales were the same online as they were in the stores.
Yeah.
But we did brave the stores. We just didn't buy very much there. Mostly because the lines were terrible. I mean, the lines were like a day long.
I'm getting more done online than I do in person now. I've become more of a hermit. I don't know why that is, but yeah, I've become more of a insular person. I don't brave the stores much anymore. Maybe that's bad for the death of retail, but I'm finding myself more bring it to me. I'd rather have you bring it to me than me go to the store. But
yeah, we have a steady stream of delivery men coming to our house to drop stuff off at our doorstep.
yeah. It's just, I think it's not only easier, but if they're going to make me pay the sales tax anyways, I might as well just have you drop it at my door.
Yeah. And I was kind of disappointed in just like the amount of inventory. So like there weren't the things that my kids wanted. So it was more like just try on for size, and then I'll get you the color that you want online when I get home.
Yeah, it seems like there's a better variety online too. Like sometimes I get disappointed when I go out to retail and there's something specific I know I want in here, and I go out to retail and they don't have it. So
yeah.
The
one store that got us though was this little jewelry store that my girls like, called Kendra Scott, and that was not even on their list. We weren't even thinking about buying jewelry, but you walk in and it's just so sparkly and pretty. And so they got some stocking stuffers out of there. We're on sale. Got good deals on there. Those things. So
that's for sure. Before we get into the haha and the funny today, I do want to make one mention. A lot of people were very receptive and very nice about, unfortunately, on Thanksgiving, we did lose Jerry Pauley, who's the host of Hillbilly Horror Stories. I got a small chance to talk to Tracy, his lovely widow, a little bit this weekend. She was very busy fielding messages from everybody. Of course, you can understand she's shocked, she's stunned at losing Jerry. She does appreciate all the messages and the love and the support, and she's amazed at how much support she's getting. I want to encourage people, and I'm going to put it in the description of this program today. I'm going to continue to post the GoFundMe for Jerry and Tracy. There's going to be a lot of expenses with the ICU costs that were there. Of course, for those of you who don't know, Jerry, about a week and a half ago, collapsed at Creation Con. I believe it was Creation Con. Tracy had always wanted to go to Creation Con, and Jerry took her as kind of a surprise. And he was coming out of the parking lot. He had parked the car, and Tracy was waiting outside, or inside rather, for Jerry. And on his way back from the car to the building, he had collapsed, and Jerry had a pacemaker. He had some issues with heart trouble and heart failure, and the pacemaker didn't kick in. It didn't restart his heart. Luckily, there were people there on the scene right there that had seen him collapse, tried to get him back and tried to revive him while they were waiting for EMTs. But neither the people there nor the EMTs could get his heart started and keep it started while he was getting to the hospital. They did get him to the hospital. They got his heart restarted. They got him in a medically induced coma. He had woke up, I guess, I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday, somewhere in there, out of the medically induced coma. They took him off the ventilator. He was awake long enough to tell Tracy, I don't have a good feeling about this. I want to prepare you for the end.
Such a nightmare. Which
was heartbreaking. And then he passed away Thursday morning. Which, I mean, I don't know what type of scenario you prefer in that case, whether you prefer that person slips away in their sleep or whether they actually come back and say, I want to prepare you for the end. Either way, it's a sad situation.
So sad.
But Jerry, I told Tracy in my message to her how much I love and appreciate both of them for everything they've done for this program and for our audience, and that we'll continue to be there for them for whatever they need. So I want to continue this week to post the GoFundMe for them. There's going to be plenty of expenses that they need. Of course, there's, internment for Jerry yet as well to pay for. So anything you can do. I know it's a holiday season and everybody's got people to shop for and whatnot, but if you have an extra $5 to $10 or whatever that you can help out the Pauly family with, it's greatly appreciated. So there you go. All right. Let's get to the business of the ha-ha and the funny with dumb crimes, stupid criminals. We have quite a bit. Speaking of, we've got a turkey sound effect here, so I don't know if you can hear it or not. But there's a little turkey in the background. Whoop! I can't hear you. No, you couldn't hear the turkey? I can't hear you right now.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So basically, we start off with a driver who misunderstood the phrase over the river and through the woods when they were going to Grandma's house on Thursday. Essentially, what happened here, Jess, was it wasn't good. We're going to a place called Marbletown, where the driver of an SUV who attempted to take a shortcut through Esopus Creek in the pre-dawn hours of Thanksgiving did not have the same success as the SUVs performing the same feat in TV commercials, showing the off-road capabilities of their vehicles. You probably don't want to take it off-road if you're going to Grandma's house, that's for sure. This is in mid-Hudson in the Hudson Valley in New York, by the way. The attempt was so unsuccessful that the Ulster County Sheriff's Office had to rescue the occupants on Thursday and had to pull the SUV out of the water on Friday. So essentially, choom, right into the drink. According to the Sheriff's Office, on November 28th, at approximately 2:28 a.m., deputies responded to a report of a vehicle submerged in the Esopus Creek near Fording Place Road in the town of Marbletown. Upon arrival, they located the driver and a passenger, both of whom safely reached the shore before deputies arrived. Given the time of day and the weather, a decision was made to leave the vehicle partially submerged in the creek until Friday. I don't know if maybe there's, no tow drivers available in Marbletown that time, or they were having dinner. I don't know. Smaller town.
Like, you're stupid. We're not going to waste our time.
Yeah. If you're going to put it in the creek, we're going to leave it there until Friday when we actually have people working.
Oh, can you just imagine, though, just seeing your vehicle just sitting there submerged in water and knowing it's just going to be there for a while.
Just doing this, right?
Yeah.
It's just doing the slow,
Sinking a little deeper.
Yeah. The preliminary investigation indicates the driver was traveling from Route 209 and attempted to take a shortcut from Fording Place Road to Hurley Mountain Road by crossing a shallow section of the Esopus Creek. Failing to consider the creek's depth and current, the driver plowed in and the Jeep was quickly overtaken by the strength of the creek's current. Now, that's stupid just to begin with, right? I mean, that's, come on. The following day, the sheriff's in-water rescue team conducted a recovery operation with divers securing tow straps and a cable to the SUV, allowing for Perry's towing. That's a good commercial for him. To winch the vehicle from the creek. The investigation is ongoing, and the driver may face charges for environmental infractions along with vehicle and traffic violations. So they've yet to be charged, but chances are they're going to be. So, yeah. It is what it is. So kids, even on a holiday, if you think, I'm just going to take a quick shallow, I've got 4-wheel drive. I can do it, right? That's common here in Minnesota. I've got 4-wheel drive. I can take that icy road. Maybe think twice. Just saying.
I would say stay out of the lakes and the rivers and the creeks.
Yeah, don't go.
Drive on the roads.
Like TLC said, don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to, right? I don't know. Our next story comes from Tony. He sent us a couple of them today, so thanks to Tony. This one has to do with a South Korean Navy SEAL knocking out a controversial American streamer by the name of Johnny Somali. God.
Knocked him out.
Well, sometimes we're grateful for some things and thankful for others in Thanksgiving. Evidently, a lot of people were thankful that Johnny Somali got his butt kicked on Thanksgiving.
He must be really annoying.
I think he is, yeah. A former South Korean Navy SEAL by the name of Dalgyun Yu has become the talk of the news as he knocked out the notorious American streamer Johnny Somali. This American streamer has built quite a name for his rude stunts in Asian countries. Yu, who has experience serving on South Korea's elite underwater demolition team, claimed he wanted to defend national dignity. The incident reportedly occurred after Johnny Somali, whose real name is not known, caused outrage by desecrating a monument dedicated to the victims of Japan's wartime sexual slavery during World War II. Oh, that's not nice.
No, that's terrible.
Yeah. The streamer, infamous for his inflammatory behavior across Asia, was live streaming near the monument when Yu confronted him. Witnesses report that Yu punched Somali after an escalating verbal exchange. Yu was arrested immediately after the incident and now is under investigation on charges of assault. In short statement to reporters, Yu showed no remorse, saying he had acted to defend South Korea's honor. I cannot stand by while someone insulted the victims of history and our nation, he said. This is not a maiden controversy for Johnny Somali, who is known for his inflammatory and disrespectful stunts. He was indicted recently in South Korea on charges of causing a public disturbance at a convenience store, as many of his behaviors target Asian cultures and historical sensitivities. His actions have drawn massive condemnation online. The altercation has since sparked an outpouring of online support for Yu, with many South Koreans praising him for standing up to Somali. On social media, some called for harsher penalties against the streamer, who they accused of exploiting freedom of speech for financial gain while showing disrespect for local customs and history. Authorities have not said whether Johnny Somali will face any other charges over his actions or whether Yu will be formally indicted on charges of assault. The incident has, meanwhile, revived debates about the limits of free expression, the exploitation of cultural sensitivities for internet fame, and the role of individuals in defending national pride. Johnny Somali has not commented on the incident as of yet. You know, what is it? What's the saying? Do stupid stuff, win stupid prizes, or I don't remember what it is, or say stupid stuff, get stupid prizes, or
seems fair.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, there's a limit to free speech. I mean, you know, there's such a thing as free speech, but stupid speech gets you fun rewards, you know?
I don't think free speech was intended for you just to walk around being a raging asshole. Like, that wasn't the point.
Yeah, that's a better saying. Yeah, free speech doesn't entitle you to be a stupid asshole. That's a good way of putting it. Let's see here. This next story was sent to me by a listener as well. A dentist is suspected of poisoning his wife and is now accused of plotting to kill a cop from behind bars. This guy's hitting the stupid criminal trifecta. I think
he gets a prize for that.
Yes, yeah, I think the prize is more time behind bars. That's for sure, Jess. James Craig, the Colorado dentist who has been accused of poisoning and killing his wife, has now been charged with allegedly plotting the murder of a detective working on his case. Craig was charged with the murder of his wife, Angela, who died in 2023. Prosecutors said Craig used lethal doses of cyanide and tetrahydrozoline to poison his wife, Angela, who was 43 years of age. His trial was slated to begin this week with jury selection. but has now been put on indefinite hold after his attorney abruptly withdrew from the case. Shortly after his attorney left, prosecutors filed 2 new charges against Craig, including one for murder solicitation. While the victim of the alleged murder plot was not listed, sources close to the case told 9 News that the intended target was a detective with the Aurora Police who worked on Craig's case. The broadcaster obtained records alleging that Craig had twice asked his cellmate to kill the detective. The cellmate is not facing charges and is not suspected of any wrongdoing, that according to the outlet. This isn't the first time Craig landed in hot water for allegedly trying to plot with a former prisoner. In September, prosecutors revealed that they had found a letter in April of 2023, just after Craig's initial arrest, where he tried to allegedly convince a man who was briefly incarcerated with him to help him craft a fraudulent defense. The scheme was complicated, according to prosecutors. Craig wanted the former inmate to find some attractive, and this is a quote, attractive 25 to 45-year-old females, and to convince one to pose as his former mistress. The fake mistress would have been instructed to weave a tale about how she and Craig were together, but he called it off out of a sense of loyalty to Angela, his wife. The fiction continued with Angela learning of the affair and approaching the spurned mistress with a plot to frame Craig with an assault or an attempted homicide. In other words, Craig was allegedly trying to lay the groundwork to argue that his dead wife had framed him. He offered the cellmate, or former cellmate, $60,000 in dental work for his mother in payment. Try not to laugh through that, but that's the payment. So I'll hook your mom up with dental work. That's
what the heck?
Yeah, I won't give you actual cash for this deal. The cellmate reportedly told Craig he'd consider the offer, but then he went to investigators because he was afraid of getting roped up in a felony for the dentist. Craig's next court date was scheduled for December 16th, but without an attorney and with new charges looming, it's unclear when his case will actually make it before a judge. The dentist first faced trouble with the law in 2023 when he allegedly determined he was going to kill his wife. According to his arrest affidavit, Craig plotted the murder from his office, searching terms such as undetectable poisons online and later ordering crystalline metalloid arsenic from Amazon. That's a pretty specific order from Amazon, right? I mean, kind of traceable. So yeah, when fulfillment calls you and asks, are we going to need hazmat suits for this? That's pretty.
Do they even sell that on Amazon? Why would anyone need that?
No, I suppose crystalline metalloid arsenic might be used in pest control.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Kind of shady. Just go buy some rat poison at the hardware store.
Yeah, it's very shady. 5 days before Angela died, Craig received a package at his office containing the potassium cyanide, but an office worker opened the item and saw its contents, including a bright biohazard sticker. On March 6th, 9th, and 15th, Angela fell ill and went to the hospital to seek treatment. She reported feeling faint and dizzy during each visit. By her third visit, Aurora police were beginning to become suspicious of what kept putting her in the hospital. Angela then died on March 18th. Shortly after her death, the office worker who found Craig's poisons became suspicious and reported their findings to the police. Okay, so that's the end of that story there. Interesting. So $60,000 in dental work, won't give you any cash. So if you want to help off the wife, that's fine. But I guess I'll do it myself.
Is it sad that my takeaway is that I'm too old to be the fake mistress? Bummer.
Well, I think
25 to 45. Why do you have to be so ageist?
I think you'd pass. Yeah, I'd take you for 35.
All right.
Yeah.
That's why I keep coming on this show, Tim. Thank you.
See? Yeah. See?
I was a little offended there.
No, don't be offended. No. So, yeah. I think he just put out the call for that age. You still could have been picked.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you don't have to.
You're going to audition.
Yeah.
You can age down.
That's right. That's right. You don't have to necessarily put your, birth certificate out there or your ID. You just have to audition. So, yeah.
Well, this is what happens when you get old, Tim. Take the wrong stuff away from the stories.
That's right. You're getting a little sensitive here, Jess. I mean, just,
I'm just saying I'm too old for the job.
No. Just saying.
No.
That was the requirements. It's not that you couldn't audition. That's all. Yeah.
All right. Well, that guy was a puke anyway, so.
That's right. I don't know that you wanted that audition.
No.
Yeah. There's others out there. Yeah. Keep trying, kid.
I mean, keep trying for
right.
different things.
That's
not
right.
that.
Not that one. Maybe there's one here down the line in one of these stories we can audition you out for. Well, let's keep reading and find out. Definitely not this one though. Police find live chickens in a bowl of cocaine in a bar after responding to reports of gunfire. That's
Whoa, there's a lot going on in that sense.
there is a lot, yeah. I never thought of snorting a line of coke with a live chicken before, but we all have our kinks.
Yeah, I'm ready to hear more.
Yeah, well, let's find out. We're going to Milwaukee, the home of chicken snorting or coke snorting chickens, I guess. I don't know. A Milwaukee bar owner has lost his tavern license after police discovered a bowl of cocaine and live chickens inside the establishment. It's not a party until your cock is snorting coke. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just saying. Just saying.
Oh, you just made it weird, Tim.
Did I? I mean, I could throw one of these in there. I'm just saying. The El Cielo Bar, which had its open sign put out for the final time on Wednesday, was closed following a series of incidents that led to the revocation of owner Ruben Albinil Coyolte's license, I believe. Hey, I might have butchered his name, but
you nailed it.
We didn't butcher his coke-filled cock. We'll just put it that way. Coyote, who declined an on-camera interview due to a pending police investigation, said the license revocation stemmed from a shots-fired incident in October. This incident was discussed by police before the Milwaukee Common Council's licensing committee. Sergeant Guadalupe Velasquez of the Milwaukee Police Department explained what police saw upon entering the establishment. Officers recovered cocaine, drug paraphernalia, a suspected drug sales ledger. Well, it's good that they're marking it down. And 9mm cartridges. Chickens were also located in the basement of the tavern. Because who doesn't love a good chicken tender with their cocaine? Just saying.
Does it make you hungry? I don't know. Maybe.
I got to tell you, on a side note here, I had the most wonderful chicken tender this weekend.
Where was it?
It was at B52's in Inver Grove Heights.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was a Moroccan flavored. It was a Moroccan rub on a chicken tender.
That sounds delicious.
Doesn't it? Little heat, little spice, little salt. Perfect. Just saying.
Did it come with a side of Coke?
Yes, it did. I had to do a line of Coke off the waitress's ass beforehand, but hey, it was a Moroccan. No, it came with ranch. But you had your choice of blue cheese or ranch, but I took the ranch. I'm not that.
You're not that brave.
I'm not that brave. I'm not a blue cheese guy. Blue cheese smells like feet to me. I can't. No.
Okay, you can have ranch, blue cheese, or cocaine. What do you pick?
Yeah. Well.
I'll take the ranch.
Ranch because I got to drive home. Yeah. Just saying. I don't want to be that wired. Coyote was accused of shooting a gun out of a window, a claim he denied, stating that he doesn't own a gun. Doesn't mean he didn't shoot it. He also denied ownership of the cocaine found by police because he didn't snort it, evidently. However, Coyote did admit to raising chickens in the basement near the beer storage, explaining to council members that he planned to eat them.
This is the most logical thing I could think of.
Yeah, those are my chickens. I raised them near the beer. I have names for them as well. Council member...
beer batter them later.
That's right. See? Now you're thinking.
Yeah.
Beer near the... Chickens are near the beer, so I can beer batter them. It's all right there. See, it's
called logistics, Tim.
Logistics. You got it, Chess. Council member Jocasta Zamarpia, I believe, sure, questioned Coyote about the chickens, asking the chickens that were located in the basement of the tavern, why were they there? Coyote said 2 words: for eat. Just for eat.
For eat.
Yeah. Zamariapa? Yeah. Said, so you killed them in the basement. Coyote then said, not the basement, in my house. I live in the upstairs.
Oh.
Yeah. So live in the basement, in the upstairs. Yeah. Ultimately, the combination of cocaine, shots fired, noise complaints, and the presence of chickens led the alderman to revoke the license. Jose Perez, the Milwaukee alderman, Common Council president, said, I just think he knows better than to get into trouble he's gotten into. So I think the record speaks for itself, but I agree it's difficult to support this license. The chickens were taken by police to a local animal control facility where they enjoyed them with a slight breading and some greens. So, yeah.
A little Moroccan rub.
A little Moroccan rub. Let me tell you, it's delicious, though, Jess. Oh, that Moroccan rub, I tell you. Probably, I'll go back. Probably, and a nice meaty tender, too. I mean, it was no little, no gristle, no nothing. It was white meat right off the breast.
Sounds delicious.
It's wonderful. By the way, one of the chickens was euthanized due to its condition, while the others were returned to Coyote. So.
Return to Coyote.
It sounds like a movie, Return to Coyote.
That sounds like a bad fate either way.
Yeah. Return to Coyote, I think, was a Clint Eastwood movie, if I remember right. Yeah. Oh, boy.
So we got him back, huh?
Yeah, you got him back eventually. So that's it.
I feel a sequel coming.
I do, too. Chicken and Cocks. That's your sequel coming.
Chicken, cocks, and cocaine.
Chicken, cocks, and cocaine. Coked up cocks. We're going to, speaking of drugged up things, we're going to the airport now. We're going to LAX. Where all the rage this Christmas is meth-caked clothing.
Oh, gosh.
So you want to get the kids something for Christmas. Get them that meth-caked clothing, evidently.
You suppose that's on sale today?
It is. It's 50% off at the store there at the airport, especially if you're at LAX. A man was arrested at LAX after allegedly checking suitcases filled with over 70 pounds of meth-caked clothing. By the way, Jess, this is what it looks like when your clothes are caked with meth.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like it snowed in there.
Like it's something in there. Yeah. Ugh. I don't imagine how bad that smells. That chemical smell. Ugh.
I have no concept of what meth would smell like, but I imagine it would be nasty.
Yeah, like Drano. A California man was arrested at LAX after he allegedly tried to check 2 suitcases containing more than 70 pounds of clothing caked in methamphetamine, including a cow pajama onesie.
Oh, why do you got to do that to your onesie?
I know, right? On a flight to Australia, that according to federal prosecutors. Raj Matharu checked 2 suitcases, one pink and one gray, on his November 6th United Airlines flight bound for Sydney. According to a criminal complaint filed in the Central District of California, the screening officers who x-rayed the luggage noticed some irregularities and upon further inspection found more than a dozen light-colored clothing items that were stiff and covered in white powder, which later tested positive for methamphetamine. That according to a statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Among the clothing was a flannel cow onesie. Law enforcement extracted more than 1 kilogram or 2 pounds of meth from the suitcases. Jeez. Matharu, who was intercepted at the gate and admitted to owning the suitcases, according to the court records, he was later arrested and charged with 1 count of possession with intent to distribute methamphetamine. CNN reached out to Matharu and his attorney for comment. U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada said in a statement, drug dealers are continually inventing creative ways to smuggle dangerous narcotics in pursuit of illicit profit. The clothing was likely washed in methamphetamine and left to dry, according to court records. Methamphetamine is a stimulant that has cold medicine like pseudoephedrine as a main ingredient. It is cooked or chemically changed into meth using ingredients that can include paint thinner, drain cleaner, and lithium from batteries, among other items, according to the U.S. Department of Justice. That mixture is then dried into pills, crystals, or powder. Matharu is free on $10,000 bond and is scheduled to be arraigned on Monday in Los Angeles. Interesting. So, meth cake clothing. Remember that for the kids for Christmas there, Jess.
I just ordered a few pairs of pajamas covered in meth.
Some cow onesies.
Right, 50% off.
I'm sure Logan has that on his list for...
buy one, get one.
Yeah, buy one, get one. So, there you go. We stay with the airlines, where a United Airlines passenger is seen violently attacking his own seat in a wild video. Got to thank Tony for this one. Again, it's another passenger gone wild. Get the duct tape.
That's all I need. The vision in my brain is just somebody just eating the crap out of their own seat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, why not? Bad behavior among airline passengers is unfortunately not too uncommon these days, rather, when it seems like every other day there are headlines surfacing about unruly travelers. But while many of these stories involve passengers getting into altercations with the airline crew or attacking one another, a recent incident filmed aboard a United Airlines flight shows a man violently attacking his seat, of all things. According to Southwest News Service, the incident took place aboard a flight from Austin, Texas to Los Angeles, California on November 16th. In the video, the unnamed man can be seen repeatedly kicking his reclined seat as other passengers watch the bizarre behavior, clearly in shock. The clip was recorded by San Diego-based addiction counselor Gino Galafaro, who said that he had been sleeping and was awoke by the commotion. I woke up to him kicking the seat. The flight attendant walked by a couple of times and nobody was noticing anything or doing anything, Galafaro recalled. I restrained him and two other passengers were already getting zip ties, so we zip tied his hands and feet and seat belted him to the seat.
That's fair.
What is this with passenger justice, where everybody has to do the work for the flight attendants and or U.S. Marshals that might be on the flight? Like, they don't do their jobs anymore.
We just take care of ourselves now, Tim. We're independent.
I guess, right? It's the Wild West now on airlines.
Just travel with some duct tape and zip ties.
You might as well just carry a crowbar in your carry-on so you can start hitting guys over the head who attack you. Galafaro noted that the flight was about 40 minutes from touching down in L.A. when the man began acting out and that police came on board when the plane landed. He added that he hopes to be in touch with the man's family to see if he can offer any help. Why? United Airlines confirmed that there had been 76 passengers and with 5 crew members aboard the flight at the time. Yet it was the passengers that restrained him. On November 16th, local law enforcement met United Flight 502 upon arrival at Los Angeles International Airport when a customer became disruptive, a spokesperson said. We thank our crew for helping address the situation. What crew addressed it? It was passengers. And working to ensure the safety of everyone on board, we've banned this customer from future United flights. Well, he won't go on United anymore, but you're probably now going to see him on Delta. He'll probably
should just fly Sun Country.
Oh God, I don't want him on Sun Country. I only take Sun Country and Delta now. I won't take United. I won't take any of those other budget airlines.
Yeah, we mostly fly Delta. So if he could just stay off Delta, that'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, occasionally I'll take Southwest. But now Southwest has stopped. I mean, they're doing assigned seating now on Southwest. Because the way that they used to do seating has gotten too unruly. So now they're giving you assigned seats on Southwest.
Oh, can you select them yourself though?
Yeah.
Because I kind of like that.
Yeah. It's now you have to select your seat on Southwest. They don't do the zones anymore. You have to actually pick a seat. So, I mean, that's probably better anyways, but We have a Florida man story here, Jess. This isn't too smart. By the way, I'm going to show you a picture here of what this guy looks like. Okay. This guy has your typical Florida man look to him.
He's like a grizzly bear.
He is, isn't he?
With a big beard.
He's got that look like he probably hasn't shaved since Obama's first term.
And his eyebrows are super bushy, so you can barely see his eyes.
Yeah, he's got the Florida caveman look to him, that's for sure. Florida man allegedly commits 2 felony thefts within 15 minutes. And the kicker, he didn't leave the same Publix supermarket while committing both of them. So,
wow.
Yeah, he just went into Publix, committed one, and then left, and then came back to the same Publix. And
he's a speed felon.
Yeah, he's lazy is what he is. A Florida man was arrested for 2 separate thefts that occurred within 15 minutes of one another, according to Sunshine State authorities. 42-year-old Andrew Sylvester stands accused of 2 counts of felony retail theft, according to a press release. I'm having a hard time today. A press release issued by the Polk County Sheriff's Office earlier this month at a press briefing last week. In each instance, the defendant allegedly stole several $100s worth of products from the same Publix supermarket in Central Florida. Sylvester tried to steal not 1, but 2 carts full of groceries from Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd, who's familiar to this program, had to get the slogan in there while doing the press conference.
That's great.
Yeah. That stunt landed him in the county jail, where arresting criminals is our pleasure, he went on to say. You gotta love Grady Judd. Grady Judd is such a smart ass when he does press conferences. On November 12th, deputies were called to the grocery store on Route 98 in Lakeland, a large city located some 30 miles east of Tampa. I'm trying to remember if I've been to that one or not. I don't think I have. The Publix supermarket chain is employee-owned and operates throughout the majority of the southeastern United States. The company is headquartered in Lakeland, Florida. When the deputies arrived, they located Andrew outside the store with a shopping cart full of groceries that he had not paid for. The sheriff's office alleges in the press release the value of the items in the shopping cart observed by deputies is said to have been exactly how much, Jess? I want to play the Price is Right with you. How much in the shopping cart was Andrew busted with?
Just one cart or both of them in totality?
Just one.
Okay, just one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know how much I pay for groceries every week, and if it was a full cart, I'm going to go with around $300.
Oh, you're very close. Very close.
Am I?
I think he probably picked up a few budget items. He didn't get anything from the meat counter. Yeah. So, strictly off the shelf, $243.92, according to the sheriff's office.
Well, he's a good shopper then. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I think he got a few budget items in there. A store employee allegedly said the defendant had pulled off a similar caper less than 15 minutes earlier and then tried to do it again. He had wheeled another cart out of the store about 10 minutes prior, and the value of those items in that cart, how much, Jess? I'll tell you, it's less than the initial amount of that first cart. So how much for the first cart of groceries?
Okay, I'm going to say maybe around $180.
Oh, you're very close.
Am I?
$206.10.
Oh.
So in total,
at least I didn't go over this time. If I was on the Price is Right, I would have won.
I know, right? You would have won. So in total, $450. That's a good haul for 2.
It's a pretty good haul.
Yeah, 2 carts of groceries, that's for sure. In sum, Sylvester is alleged to have attempted to steal a combined total value. I can do the announcer voice from Price is Right. So I can do the Johnny here. Total value, Drew, of $450
Good job, Tim.
On our,
you have a future.
Right. On our shopping showcase. Now we have to individualize every item that he stole. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, gosh. No.
Judd said in a video posted on Facebook, we tried to talk to him, but he wouldn't talk back. Well, no. I mean,
He was just a silent stealer.
He was probably hungry. He wanted to eat some of that stuff out of the cart.
Yeah. I mean, if he was under 300, though, he definitely wasn't getting organic.
No, he wasn't eating organic. No, it's probably
not shopping in the health food section. No. That's where I get it. When my teen daughter's home, she wants all the good stuff.
Yeah, it's probably lots of boxes of mac and cheese. And
I'm like, what's wrong with pesticide? I mean, I've been eating my whole life. Look at me.
Yeah, right?
I'm fine.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're not going anywhere. The sheriff suggested the case against the defendant, who was beyond dispute because of store surveillance footage, which purports to show Sylvester walking in and out with 2 buggies full of stolen property. Evidently, Sheriff Judd thinks he's from England because he's
2 buggies.
Buggies full of, yeah. He's so kitschy, isn't he? Under Florida law, retail theft is highly criminalized at the basic level and is considered a felony in the 3rd degree, punishable by a prison term of up to 5 years.
Wow. That's so crazy because I think in California you can just do that.
Yeah, you just get away with it. Yeah.
You just walk on out and no one's going to do anything. In Florida, they're like throwing the book at you.
That's right. 5 years for that. In most states, retail theft is considered a misdemeanor offense with varying degrees. So you're right, Jess. It's just kind of, you can just in and out. In fact, in Minnesota, they just upped the stakes for this type of criminal behavior because, people were walking into like Best Buy and walking out with TVs.
Yeah.
So they upped it from a misdemeanor to a felony now.
Good. They should. They're making everything so expensive for the rest of us.
Yeah. Yep. In the defendant's case, the 2 theft offenses appear to likely come with the potential for an extended term of imprisonment if he is convicted as presently charged. Now, Florida law provides that anyone convicted of 1 prior theft offense who is then convicted for another commits a 2nd-degree felony. As for someone with 2 prior theft convictions, the potential increases to a 1st-degree felony offense. Sylvester was charged with felony theft as a 3rd subsequent offense for each of the 2 recent charges. Polk County jail records show, in terms of punishment, he could now face 30 years behind bars.
Dang.
Yeah, evidently he was really hungry. In the video about the incident, Judd described the defendant as something not entirely unlike incorrigible. If he's around, he's stealing something, the sheriff said. So.
It makes me wonder, can he literally just not afford it, or is it just like a thrill for him?
It might be just a thrill. I think he
I think it is.
Yeah, he did it just to see if he could get away with it. That's for sure. All right, we're coming right here to Minnesota for this next story. Sometimes Minnesotans are a little too outspoken. I think that's...
Are they?
Yeah, I think so. I think we tend to be a little, oh gosh, gee, a little too, oh golly.
Yeah, we say it in such a way that it's kind of coded in niceness.
A little bit. And then we tend to overjournal about it or be a little too public about it sometimes because we think it's cute and kitschy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one Minnesota woman, an auto thief to be exact, made a damning journal entry. She said, totally stole a car today, Yeah, let me show you a picture of her. Here she is, by gosh, there she is,
Oh.
She's like, totally stole a car today, Whoops. Yeah.
I wouldn't suspect her. She looks so innocent.
A little bit, but she's not that innocent. After allegedly swiping a van, which later was sold for scrap, a Minnesota woman made an incriminating entry in her personal journal, according to cops. Totally stole a car today. Something I never thought of doing. Vanessa Guerra wrote, fucking super freaking out about it, is what she wrote. Investigators allege that the 30-year-old Guerra made that written admission of guilt on the same August day that a Brown County man reported his 2004 Ford Firestar was stolen. That's a hard grouping of words to say.
That's a hard one. Tongue twister.
Yeah, 2004 Ford Firestar. How would you like to say that every time you go to O'Reilly to get parts for that? What are you here for? What do you need a part for? 2004 Ford Firestar. Without saying the word.
It's like you're stuttering.
Yeah. 2004 Ford Firestar. It's like you're trying not to get Tourette's saying that, 2004 Firestar.
Oh, Tim.
The van, which was worth a whole $2,000, was like, that's a 2004, Jess. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
you probably could have bought it with the change out of your couch cushions. Let's face it, it's not worth a lot. The van, which was worth $2,000, was later sold for scrap at a salvage business in neighboring Blue Earth County, where Guerra resides in the city of Mankato.
Oh, I know where that's at.
Yeah, Blue Earth County in Mankato. Witnesses at the auto salvage business, I feel like I should read like this from here on out, stated that Guerra had brought the van in and sold it to him. During the auto theft probe at Brown County Sheriff's Office, investigator was able to locate a journal belonging to Guerra, containing her written exclamation that she totally stole a car today. That's what she did.
This is so funny as the way she wrote it, too. And she's 30 years old. I would have thought a 16-year-old wrote that journal entry.
Yeah. Dear diary, totally stole a car today. I'm losing my fucking mind over here, Hope they don't catch me. Love me. When contacted by the investigator, Guerra denied knowing that the vehicle was stolen. Guerra, I don't know nothing about no 2004 Ford Firestar. Guerra, who has recently worked as a DoorDash driver, has been charged with a pair of felonies, receiving stolen property and theft. Guerra has previously been convicted of driving with a suspended license and driving without insurance. In June, she pleaded guilty to misdemeanor theft and was sentenced to a brief stay in the county jail and placed on unsupervised probation for a year. Now, a judge also fined Guerra $354 and ordered her to remain law-abiding. I'll tell you this, stealing a car ain't law-abiding.
No.
That's right.
Definitely not. Even if it's only $2,000, it's still a crime.
So the judge then looked at her and goes, so, you stole a car, you did ya? How you feeling now? I got to put you in jail, It's not good. You didn't do a good thing. That's bad. I got to send you up the river. You got to go to the Mankato jail.
Yes.
You got to break rocks. I don't know.
Or make license plates or whatever they do.
You got to make license plates. 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 Got to make license plates. You got to break rocks. And you got to make license plates for boats.
Oh, no, not boats.
Yeah, boats. For boats, for motorcycles, and for cars. I'm just driving people nuts with the accent.
Oh, you are. Yeah, dragging out all those O's.
Yeah, O's. It's a long O, like boats. Boats, campers, and RVs. All right, folks, enough of the accent. Let's talk about the fact that Christmas is coming and about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Have you heard about him? Just wondering.
I know that guy.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
Yeah. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ told us to turn the other cheek, Jess. But an Antioch pastor said, fuck that. It's time to get down with some kung fu fighting. You know what I'm saying?
Did he say that?
Yeah, he did. An Antioch pastor fought off an alleged church burglar with some martial arts this week.
Heck yeah. Good for him.
Heck yeah. Jesus, who? Let me tell you something. Someone's coming to rob me. Let me introduce you to a left and a right. You know what I mean?
That's right.
That's right. Because who's protecting the Lord's house? This guy right here.
That's right. Not the Lord's house. Not today.
Not today. Pastor Nick Neves said from the pulpit while delivering his sermon on Sunday, after an axe-wielding burglar broke into the First Family Church in Antioch just after midnight on Thanksgiving, setting off the alarm, pray for the man that tried to rob us.
He was wielding an axe.
Well, he had it coming.
And he kicked his ass.
Kicked his ass. The pastor, the good pastor, said, one of the 10 commandments is, you shall not steal. So in that respect, yeah, I was stopping this man from doing evil.
Heck yeah. I like this guy.
The pastor quickly arrived to find a broken window and a man who did not belong there. He started to run, and so the two of us ran into the parking lot where I grabbed a hold of him, said Neves. We tussled for a little while. The pastor relied on his martial arts training to fend off the alleged thief who swung at the man of God in a battle that would last for about 15 minutes, Jess.
Wow.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. 15 minutes.
That is a long fight.
That's a Hollywood style fight.
That's full cardio for the day.
That is, yeah. After that, I take a long nap and a lot of painkillers because, I ain't going 15 minutes. If we can't wrap this up in 2 minutes, I'm done. I'm just saying. He put up quite a fight, said Neves, who still managed to call 911 during the scuffle.
Wow, this guy is incredible.
He's blocking with one hand and dialing with the other.
He just got him in a headlock and he's kicking him in the face and he's calling cops at the same time.
He's giving him knees to the face and he's dialing 911. Yeah, can you get over here? I got him subdued.
Oh, my.
He said, we were on the ground and I drug him to a place where my phone was at.
Just drug him across the parking lot.
Within minutes, Neves said Antioch police arrived and I took the suspect into took the suspect into custody, allowing the pastor to stand down, much to the relief of the congregation. I'm grateful that God protected him, said John Williams, a member of the congregation. This could have turned out a lot worse. He's a very humble man, our pastor, said congregant Tania Watkins. I hope that this man can finally get the help he needs to turn his life around. Who, the pastor or the guy who attacked him? I mean, I don't know that the pastor should be whooping ass. I mean, I'm just saying,
I like it.
Maybe the pastor should be turning and,
Makes me want to go to that church.
The pummeling pastor, Pastor Neves.
Sign me up.
Although the pastors said the man was not armed during the fight, a long axe and a small push dagger were taken by police as evidence.
Wow, that is so scary.
Yeah. According to police, the axe was used to break in. If he has to face the music, maybe that will cause him to change his ways and turn his eyes to Christ, and maybe he would repent. Neves, who was a little bruised, says he forgives the intruder. Antioch Mayor-elect Ron Bernal told KTVU in part, it's unfortunate our community finds itself in a place where people feel it's necessary to take matters of public safety into their own hands. I'm looking forward to new leadership that will prioritize creating a safer Antioch. Spoken like a true mayor-elect. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Right? Neves said the suspect tried to take cleaning supplies, food from a refrigerator, and tried to break into a snack machine, but failed. So the guy was hungry.
I'm just thinking, maybe he was just in a bad way. He needed stuff.
Yeah. Maybe instead of kicking the guy's ass, maybe you should have fed him.
Because why do you break into a church of all places? Not for money.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, you might be breaking in to steal valuables, but still.
Yeah, that's true.
He estimates the damage to the church at around $2,000, primarily to replace 2 windows. KTVU reached out to Antioch police regarding the charges that the suspect is facing, but did not immediately hear back. Neves says he doesn't want his church to be known for this. The small congregation spends a lot of time giving to the community, including through the food pantry that they operate every Saturday. Well, the easy thing here would have been to grab his head and snap it towards the food pantry and say, there's the food! But, you know.
Break his neck in the process.
Yeah, break his neck.
Sorry.
Sorry. Didn't mean to break your neck there. But that's where the food is. Yeah, I don't know. That probably would have been easier. Yeah. Just saying.
What a wild story.
Yeah, quite the wild story. All right, it's time now for our Not Safe for Work part of our program. For this, you're going to need to lock a burglar or your boss in the closet, or even the kids who are around in the closet. You don't want them to hear what we're about to say next, or just put your earbuds in. It's probably the easiest way to do this. We're going to do this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jess, there are more than just dumb crimes and stupid criminals in the world. There are dumb people in the world. So we're going to do a precursor story before we do the dumb criminals part of this story. Have you ever read Slate magazine?
I think I have.
Okay, so they have an advice column. They have like an adult advice column. I saw this story and I was like, I gotta share this with the world, because people are getting stupider out there. Not just criminals in general, but people in general are getting stupider. A guy claims he couldn't get his wife pregnant for the dumbest reason ever, and now people are flabbergasted. Jess, get ready for this one. A husband revealed that he and his wife, and this is just plain criminal. This guy should be arrested after writing to a magazine for stating, I couldn't get my wife pregnant for this reason.
Okay.
A husband revealed that he and his wife were suffering fertility issues after trying unsuccessfully to get pregnant for nearly a year, until his doctor pointed out something extremely obvious. Ready for this, Jess?
Yes, I think so.
A guy has left people bewildered after revealing the reason why he could not impregnate his wife despite trying his hardest for almost a year. The man who kept his identity secret, and by God, there's a good reason for it, because if he published his name, people would go pummel him. Into Slate's popular sex advice column, How to Do It, under the guise of quote unquote not rising to the occasion. All right. He revealed that after a trip to the doctor to discuss his and his wife's fertility issues, the doc told him that infertility wasn't his issue. Instead, he had to be told to stop wearing condoms while having sex. I shit you not.
Oh, my. It's probably good that they're not reproducing.
Right. I know you're saying, Tim, what? It's true. The 30-year-old added that both he and his wife come from a country where wearing a condom was drilled into them as a way to avoid STIs.
But
here's the quote. In what was probably only a few minutes, but some of the longest of my life, the doctor at the clinic explained how condoms actually function and that we'd been failing to get my wife pregnant because I was wearing a condom while we did it. Yeah, there's people that stupid in the world, folks. I've never felt like more of an idiot than when walking out of that office, he continued, as he shared that he and his wife of 4 years had been trying for a baby for just under a year with no luck. His letter went viral and was met with amazement, with one day's reader asking, did his wife not know either?
Yeah, I guess if they're from the same country.
Mm-hmm. Another commented that they genuinely worry about how humanity has made it this far, while a third person quipped that the guy's situation was worse than wondering why you're getting pregnant when you never use a condom. And many suggested that the guy should keep wearing that condom. Don't take it off, bud.
That's fair.
Yeah, we don't need any more of you. Astonishingly, the man's condom usage was not the reason he was writing in. The man revealed that since ditching the wrapper, he is now getting erectile dysfunction when he tries to have sex.
Oh my gosh, he's been traumatized by his upbringing of thinking that you can't have sex without a condom. He can't even perform.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad.
He wrote, I can sometimes...
I wonder where he's from.
That's a good question. It doesn't say. He says, I can sometimes get it up for a minute or so, but then it wilts back down.
Oh, no, the wilting penis. That's the worst.
He says, I don't know if it's the feel without one being different or just tending to think it's about my massive embarrassment at the doctor's office. Oh, sure. Blame it on the doctor. But I'm not performing when I try to have sex without a condom. Yeah.
I saw on a show one time they just used a turkey baster, so you don't even have to perform. Just
there you go. Yeah.
Put it in a cup and suck it up and shoot it in there.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Here for you, buddy.
There you go. Yep. See, just take Jess's advice. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. All right. We're coming right back here to Minnesota. I mean, not for that, but because Jess will volunteer for a certain fee to use the turkey baster for you if you're truly that inept.
I don't know if I said all that, but depends on what the fee is.
It's a huge one. Yeah, you're not doing this for cheap, that's for sure. We're going to Rochester, Minnesota, where police have arrested a naked man at that, for burglary and DUI.
Whoa, a naked man in Rochester? This feels like Florida.
It does, but it's colder. So how do you tell?
Talking about speaking of wilting penis.
Yeah, that's right. It's probably shriveled to nothing, especially since it was single digits this past week. A naked man who wandered into someone else's home after an apparent auto accident has been jailed. The Rochester Police Department says officers were called to the 2000 block of Woodcrest Lane Southwest around 7:55 p.m. last Monday. The caller said a naked man had entered an unlocked home and told people who lived there that he needed to use the bathroom.
What'd you do?
You're already outside and naked, right?
In the snow.
Can you use your restroom? I mean, that's so Minnesotan, right?
Yeah, it's even more Minnesotan when they said, okay.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Come on in. Officers arrived at the scene and located the man, identified as 29-year-old Brody Weinman of Rochester. Police say Weinman was not making sense and appeared to be under the influence. No doubt. A neighbor told police Weinman tried to force his way into their home as well. I gotta go. That's pretty much forcing your way into a home in Rochester.
Oh, I just can't even. It's just a naked man trying to bust through your door.
Says here, Weinman was taken to the emergency room for evaluation and later to jail, probably for frostbite in sensitive places. What was it last Monday? What was it, like 8 degrees? 15?
Oh, yeah. It was cold.
Yeah. And later he was taken to jail where he's being held on charges of first-degree burglary, indecent exposure, trespass, and third-degree DWI. Police say Weinman's truck was later found on top of the guardrail near the intersection of 20th Street Southwest and Edgewood Court Southwest.
Wow, that's impressive. On top of the guardrail.
That's a nice park job right there. I'll tell you that. That's talent. That's talent if there ever has been one. So there you go. All right. We go from drunkenly using someone's bathroom in Rochester, Minnesota to drunkenly using an elephant sculpture to have loud sex in Miami Beach. That's where our next story is. That's right. You heard me right, Jess. A couple was caught having loud sex atop a huge elephant sculpture ahead of Art Basel in Miami Beach. Here's a picture of the art sculpture or the installation to which a couple thought, you know what? I could do you on top of that.
I mean, I'm impressed that they didn't just slide right off.
Right. And it's a drop. I mean, those are not small elephants, you know?
It's brave.
So you gotta be talented. You gotta be, I don't know
what you got to be, because, I mean, it would hurt your back, first of all. It's not a flat surface.
Right. It says here, source is an unidentified. Oh, my gosh. I don't know if that's part of the story. Maybe it is. Art Basel doesn't kick off until December 6th. You can call this animal attraction. All right. But the attendant antics have already begun. A randy couple was caught having loud sex, that's in quotes, on one of the outdoor installations on display during the annual art fair. A source tells Page 6 that the amorous pair was caught fornicating atop an enormous pachyderm set up on South Beach as part of the installation of the Great Elephant Migration, which is a herd of life-size Indian elephant sculptures. So yes.
What makes you look at that and be like, yeah,
I got it
on that?
I got to conquer that. Yeah. A source says that on Monday night, a security guard heard strange noises and went over with his flashlight to investigate.
Oh, no.
Apparently, he saw a couple on top of one of the big elephants. And the quote is, "We do not know how they got up there."
Yeah, that was tall. That was like, it looked like 2 stories tall.
The herd is made up of families of elephants, including babies, adolescents, and full-size adults. We assume the couple scaled the animal by climbing up its trunk.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. The frisky pair avoided being cuffed by the cops thanks to a sympathetic guard. He simply asked them to leave. No arrests were made, says the insider.
That was nice of him.
Yeah, he was just like, get out of here, you frisky kids. The artistic work is meant to convey peaceful coexistence. We guess it worked, they said. The coital couple weren't the only ones taking advantage of the artwork. A source says that an unidentified rapper, who we hear is affiliated with DJ Khaled, was spotted attempting to film a music video amid the installation at 4 a.m. and was told to get out as well.
Oh.
The piece is now getting extra security to keep any rule breakers at bay. The work was last seen in New York City's meatpacking district.
All right. Well, no music videos and no sex atop the elephants.
You feel like you shouldn't have to say that, right? You know, don't. What was that? You can't hear me?
I can't hear you.
Oh, I can hear you now. Okay, there we go.
There you are.
There we go. I don't know. That was weird. You feel like you should be able to say, don't F on the pachyderms, right? I mean, that should be like a common phrase, right?
Right.
Don't F on the elephant sculptures. That, you know, that should be a basic phrase. Another one that you should be able to say, especially in England, don't F the horses in the stables.
Oh, Lord God, no.
But it's about to get sicker with our last story in Not Safe for Work.
Tim.
I know.
Last week I had to bleach everything of myself. I was so disgusted. And now you're going to bring in some animal action. Okay, I'm embracing myself.
I don't make this stuff up. It hits my email and there it is.
What is wrong with the world? All right, hit me with it.
We're going to England, where a man has been charged with having sex with a horse in a stable in Trowbridge. Damien O'Gear appeared at Salisbury Magistrates Court last Friday. Well, happy Thanksgiving to him, too. That turkey evidently got a little gravy everywhere, didn't he? The 43-year-old who represented himself denied charges of having sexual penetration of a Shetland pony.
Oh my gosh, it was a pony.
I can't even get that sentence out. And trespassing with intent to commit a sexual offense.
I mean, it would have to be a pony because, like, a horse would just be too tall.
Well, you would think.
Unless he was a very tall man.
Well, there are step stools. I'm just saying.
I really don't like that. I'm trying to make sense of this in my brain.
I don't want to have to advance the story any further than it has to go, but there are ways.
Okay.
Where there are means, there are ways. Where there are ways, there are means.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly. The writer of the article previously reported that a man was caught on CCTV entering a stable in Wadden Lane, Hilperton at around 6:30 p.m. on January 24th this year. The footage showed a suspect going into a building with boxer shorts and a top on and leaving naked around 10 minutes later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It'd be a little bit inconspicuous. Like, he would come out stark naked.
Yeah, you would think he would leave with the boxer shorts and the top on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at least get dressed.
Wow.
The court heard that a chain with a leather strap had been left within the stable, an item not seen before. It's believed that it was used during the sex attack, which, by the way, Sex Attack is a great name for an album. I don't care who you are. It's, I think it was probably going to be Prince's last album before he died, but wasn't, I don't know. A rug covering the horse's rear has also been lifted up during the sex attack.
That poor horse.
I know. An investigation was launched by police, and a vet swabbed the animal's genitals. The defendant of Wolfpack Meadows Trowbridge was later arrested and charged. The case was sent to Salisbury Crown Court for a plea and trial preparation on January 8th of 2025. So I hope to God I don't have to follow that story up. All right.
Let's never think of that story again.
All right. Now a palate cleanser for you.
Okay.
I promise you a palate cleanser at the end of all these. I'm giving you a palate cleanser at the end of this one. So here we go. All right. We're going to Canada, Jess.
Okay.
Now you hear, every once in a while, you hear that public places will come up with ways to try and drive off vagrants, homeless, loiterers, ways to get rid of people. And the way they do it, they have deterrents. Sometimes they have people drive around and shoo people off. Sometimes they'll play music, right? They'll play classical music. They'll do whatever they can to deter people. One such shopping center has been criticized for playing a popular kids song to deter homeless people from loitering in its stairwells.
Is it Baby Shark?
Yes! How do you feel about little Baby Shark?
That would get me out of there too.
Would it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't have kids in that time frame of that age that were into it, so I never had to live through it, but
I have a niece who I think is now 6 who went through such a Baby Shark phase that, I mean, we sent her a Baby Shark shirt that she wore to Threads. I mean, literal Threads. Aww. She went to Baby Shark the musical. Everything was Baby Shark, Baby Shark, Baby Shark. I had it stuck in my head for 2 years.
Did it make you crazy?
No, I kind of enjoyed it. I walked around the house singing Baby Shark. I'm not gonna sing it now, because if I sing it now, it won't get out of my head for about a month.
Yeah, then we'll all have it stuck in our heads.
Right. The song is played on loop at various speeds in emergency stairwells at Complex Desjardins, which also houses office space in downtown Montreal in Canada. It was introduced around a year ago to respond to security issues involving people experiencing homelessness. Complex Desjardins spokesperson Jean-Benoit Turcotte told Canadian website CBC. He said the firm had noticed an improvement since the tactic was implemented. I don't doubt that for a minute, that they're seeing an improvement. Sam Watts, CEO of Welcome Hail Mission in Montreal, which offers various services to homeless people, also said the firm was just moving the problem elsewhere, believe it or not. It isn't possible to resolve the complexities of homelessness by using juvenile tactics that are conceived to exclude people, rather. He said, you don't solve a problem by displacing a problem. Mr. Watts said he understood businesses and the general public are concerned about the increasing visibility of homelessness, but the answer isn't to do things that are going to further make people who are vulnerable even more vulnerable. I love how they're making a serious issue out of this. Meanwhile, I'm looking at this in the actual article, which is a giant Baby Shark balloon at the Macy's Day Parade.
Yes. You shouldn't torture people with such horrific music.
Meanwhile, Executive Director of Shelter Resilience Montreal, David Chapman believes it is cruel to irritate vulnerable people until they leave. He said there had been an increase in homelessness in the area due to a lack of shelter options. In the last 10 years in Canada, there has been a movement away from funding homeless day shelters and night shelters, and we're beginning to see the consequences of that, he said. Mr. Turcotte said Desjardins is sensitive to homelessness issues and has employed 2 social workers to ensure a dialogue with homeless people. Our aim is not to coerce, but to support these people, he added. Baby Shark, with its repetitive lyrics and catchy tune, was released in 2015 and before long went viral across the world. By 2018, it had been viewed on YouTube. How many times, Jess?
You can't even begin to guess. Billion.
1.6 billion times. And that's how many times they're going to play it for the homeless people outside Desjardins.
Hey, if the person who created Baby Shark gets like royalties for every time it's played.
Oh, yeah, they do.
I'd be like, use it for torture all you want. Torture away.
Can you just see it? Can you see it having the opposite effect? Like you're homeless, you're sitting outside, you're munching on a sandwich, and you're sitting there just chewing away on your sandwich. That's what I would do. I wouldn't let it bother me.
Just loving it.
Yeah, I'd be singing along. Yeah.
I'm curious though. They said they played at like different speeds. Do you think they like speed it up sometimes, so then it's like really kind of agitating, or like slow it way down, so then it sounds creepy?
You know what I would do? I would play it backwards and slow it down. So it'd be like,
ooh, I wonder what it says when you play it backwards. It probably tells you to kill your parents.
It probably does. Oh, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have, because I have that feature on Adobe Audition. I can play it backwards and slow it down. Ooh, I should tag that on. I should put that on the end of this program. Maybe
I want to hear it. I'm curious now.
You know what I'll do is at the end of this program, before we leave everybody today, I'll do that. I'll slow it down and I'll play it backwards for you, just a clip of it, and we'll see if it says kill your parents.
You know what it's going to say?
What's that?
Drink Ovaltine.
Drink your Ovaltine. That's right. That's all it says. Yeah. So just listen to the end of this program as we leave you today, and you'll hear it. So, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll say, here's what we'll drop it in. Ready? Right now. Okay, what'd you think, Jess? Pretty interesting, huh?
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not going to do what it told me to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
It's wrong.
Yeah, that's horrible. I can't believe that. That sounds like half the stories we read today. Yeah.
Especially the last 2.
I know, right? Horrible. Can't believe baby sharks would do that to a horse. Anyways, so that'll do it for today. What do you got going on in your world? Oh, by the way, speaking of Cyber Monday and Black Friday and everything, you have a special on the trip to the Palmer.
Yes, I have a deal for you guys. If you use, is it Darkness 30, you can get 30% off your tickets.
Darkness 20.
Darkness 20. Okay.
You slow down there, kid.
Yeah, Darkness 20. You can get 20% off on your ticket. Sorry, my brain wasn't prepared for this conversation. But yeah, we'd love for you to come. And it's a manifesting workshop weekend, and it incorporates mindfulness, writing, art, and ghosts.
There you go. So there's a link in the description of this program. Click on that link and join Ghost Stories Inc. up there at the Palmer. So there's that. Also, Jessica has 3 books out there right now. We have a link in the description of this program. Go get all 3 of those books. They make excellent holiday gifts. So do that as well. Tomorrow on the big program, Supernatural News. That's coming up. Gosh, I'm trying to think if I want to drop a hint for Thursday or not. Do I want to do that?
I like a little tease. It's my favorite.
That's your favorite.
I get through all the nastiness at the end of the program. I survive, and then I get a little tease.
And then you get a little tease of what's going on. Okay, let me think here. Okay, how do I tease? How do I tease Thursday? How do I do it without giving it away? That's the thing. Okay. I know how to do it. Okay. So we've had a well-known author on the program that's been with us many, many times before. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of months ago, but he was working on a book about Sasquatch. So that's the topic for Thursday. The book was finished by his son. So we're going to be talking about that. Unfortunately, we couldn't get his son on the program because of scheduling difficulties, but we do have the editor of the book on. So,
cool.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about the life and times of this author, the son finishing the project, and this author also has some other books that are out there still to be finished. So he left us with some projects.
Very cool.
And in fact, I've talked with one or two of the other authors behind the scenes that are finishing his project. So some fascinating stuff. So that's the topic for Thursday. I know for a fact that my uncle is a huge fan. My Uncle Bob is a huge fan of this particular author. And one of his very first paranormal books that he owned was by this particular author. And so it'll be an intriguing interview. Very intriguing.
Very cool.
Yeah. So and in fact, it was my honor to be, I think I was one of his last interviews. I think this particular person passed away. So I am excited to do this interview. A little nervous to do this interview. I don't normally get nervous for interviews, but want to make sure I honor this person's memory. So
yeah. It's going to be a good one, Tim. You always do a great job.
Well, thank you. So that's coming up on the program on Thursday. So that's what we have in store for this week. So yeah, we're trying to line up. Actually, we are lining up a good December for you. And the hits keep on coming this month. So there you go. So that's what's in store for Darkness Radio for this week. Again, if you have a story for us, whether it be true crime, dumb crime, stupid criminals, or if you have a story for us for supernatural news, just send it in, tim@darknessradio.com. So that'll do it for today. For Jessica Freeberg, I'm Tim Dennis. We'll see you tomorrow for supernatural news, and thank you for listening to the best in true crime podcasting. This has been True Crime Tuesday.